Come closer. The hollow has something for you tonight. The air is velvet dark, and the wind holds still as though waiting. You stand at the edge of a forgotten place where stories soften into mist, and something beneath. The leaves remembers your name. A tale is unfolding, slowly, gently, woven from root and echo. If your breath slows and the dark feels safe, follow my voice and subscribe if you want to hear what the shadows will tell. Next time, let me know how you listen. Your town, your forest, your corner of the world, and perhaps what image stayed with you. Now dim the lights, perhaps light a candle, and drift with me into the story. You didn't plan to walk this far. The road had ended 2 hours ago. A ribbon of gravel swallowed by moss and silence. The map said the path would stop there. The last wooden sign. Tilted and cracked, simply read, nitrogen monoxide further. And yet, your feet kept moving. There was no urgency, only the steady rhythm of footfall, and a quiet tug beneath your ribs. Not painful, not urgent, just persistent, like a forgotten melody at the edge of thought. The air had changed. As you walked, it grew stiller, thicker, cool, without wind, as though the forest held its breath just for you. And then you reached the wall, old stone, worn smooth by time. Not tall, just enough to say this far. Ivy cascaded down its length in lush, layered drapery, veiling whatever lay beyond. The leaves shifted softly, though no breeze stirred them. The scent of green things, deep and loamy, filled your lungs. You paused, sensing the moment was waiting. You raised your hand, and the ivy, moved it did not recoil. It parted slowly, deliberately, like curtains at the beginning of a story. Behind it, a gap, a space worn through the stone. Beyond that, earth packed into a trail, narrow and winding, vanishing into shadow. You don't remember stepping forward, only that you passed through, and the ivy closed behind you. A hush fell like snowfall. No wind, no bird song, only the subtle creak of old trees, and something else, a low vibration beneath your feet, as if the ground itself remembered. Footsteps. You look down. The path beneath you is not dirt, not entirely. It is root-veined and soft, padded with layers of fallen needles and age-blackened leaves. But here and there, you notice indentations, not quite footprints, but hollows, as though many feet had walked here, and the earth had chosen to keep only the shape of the memory. You walk. The forest closes around you in layers of quiet green and brown. The trees are not ordinary, not quite. They twist, they lean. Some grow sideways before turning up. Others arc overhead, forming living arches with moss-draped limbs. Fungi bloom like pale lanterns from the trunks, small, round, softly glowing, amber, violet, and dull gold. You pass beneath them, and your shadow lengthens and shortens like breathing. You pass a tree that has split open at the base, its hollow dark and yawning from inside. A set drifts out, wet stone, forgotten paper, and iron. You do not stop. The path does not welcome hesitation. Every now and then, you see markings carved into the bark. At first, you think they're natural lines and cracks. But no, they repeat. A crescent shape. A downward pointing spiral. 3 vertical slashes. Beside a dot they recur. Not predictably, not like a signpost would, but enough that you begin to expect them. You start to feel. Remember, not watched, not followed, but known. The path narrows. Vines curl around your ankles as you walk, but they do not hold you. Only brush your skin, soft as breath, the further you go. The more the forest feels less like something you're walking through, and more like something you're walking into. The difference is subtle, but you feel it. Something has turned inward. The world behind you feels thinner now. Less real, perhaps. Less loud. Here. Every step you take is hushed. The trees creak. Softly, but in a pattern, like a voice. A whisper in a language just below waking. You round a bend, and there it is. A signpost. Half swallowed by the earth, leaning as though too tired to stand. Its wood is gray, splintered by time. You kneel to see it. Words once painted across it have long since faded. But carved beneath them, faint but deliberate, a name. Your name. Not the one you use. Not the one you speak, but the one that lives inside you. The one no one else knows. The one you haven't heard in years, but never forgot. It's there, waiting. You do not speak it loud. You do not need to. The trees already know it. The sign gives no direction. It points neither left nor right, only downward, as though the path itself is what must be followed. You rise slowly. The moss beneath your knees is warm. Not from sunlight. There is none here. Only the glow of fungi. And something deeper. Something underneath. You walk on. And from the woods ahead, a light appears. Soft. Wavering. Not white. Not fire. Something amber. Flickering like thought. You feel it before you see it. It pulses gently, like breath. And the wind, which has been silent until now, rises in a single, careful exhale. It moves your hair, brushes your face, and in its current, something else. Not a word, not quite, but a syllable, a shape, a tone, that sounds unmistakably like your name. You step forward, the light waits, and you follow. The light moves before you, but it does not flee. It does not lead you. It waits. Each step you take toward it feels witnessed, not judged, not measured, but felt. The path shifts beneath your feet. Where before it had been narrow and root-bound, now it widens, lined with stones mossy and cool, placed with care, not chance. You walk between them, a corridor shaped not by hands, but by memory. The light pulses ahead, steady now, alive, but calm. It floats just above the earth, not high, not low, like a candle resting on still breath. And then you see its source, a tree, ancient, its trunk broad, as wide as a doorway, its bark coiled like braids of sleeping serpents. Its roots rise and fall in shallow hills, like something breathing just beneath the soil. The light comes not from fire, not from any flame. It glows within a lantern, glass mottled with age, iron grimed and groaning, hanging by no rope, but from the tree itself, grown from it. A limb curls upward like a reaching finger, cupping the lantern gently, not holding it, but offering. The lantern sways, just slightly, back and forth, not to the wind. There is none, only to you. You step closer, and the tree reveals more. Carvings line its trunk, not carved with blades, but grown into the bark. Lines, curves, hollow circles, eyes, ears. Symbols you recognize only in the dreamlike way. One recognizes water or night, one marking pulses. Faintly, a gentle glow just beneath the bark's surface. You touch it. The moment your skin meets the tree, the lantern flares, just once, bright and golden, and then you hear it. Not from the forest, not from behind you, from inside the tree. A hum. Low, layered, like many voices at once, speaking not words, but shapes. The air thickens. You exhale slowly. The tree is not speaking. It is listening. And in its quiet way, asking. You try to answer, not with speech, but with presence, with memory, a hand long gone. A place you haven't been since, before you knew it mattered. The feel of stone on your bare feet as a child. You let those drift forward. The lantern responds. It pulses in rhythm to your breath. And the tree begins to change. No, not change. Reveal. Within the bark. New symbols rise. You watch as they emerge, slowly, tenderly, pushing forward like dreams breaking surface. One of them forms a spiral, then bends. You see it, and something inside you folds, not in fear. In recognition. It's not a word, but it has weight, like a name not spoken in years. You step back, slowly. The lantern dims, the humming fades, and the forest releases its breath. A rustle moves through the canopy, not loud, not fast, just enough. You hear it again. Footsteps. Soft, mirroring yours. But not behind you. Beside. You turn your head. But nothing is there. Only trees. And lantern glow fading behind you. You should move on. But something roots you in place. Not fear. Curiosity. You close your eyes. Just for a moment. In the dark behind your lids, you see a shape. Tall, thin, not threatening. Waiting. You open your eyes. Nothing. The path is clear. But as you begin to walk, you notice something. The moss beneath your feet no longer muffles your steps. It echoes them. Every sound you make is matched. A half-second later, too soft to call an echo, too sharp to call your own. Like a presence that wants you to know you are not alone. Not. Follow. Join. You do not speak. There is no need. The path wins again, and from the trees, another light emerges. Another lantern. No, something different, but familiar. As though the forest is ready to show you what it has long remembered. The new light ahead is subtler, not lantern glow. Not flame. It comes from the ground. You notice it only after a few steps. The moss, thick now, blanketing the earth like velvet, shimmers faintly. Not in color. In memory, you pause and lift your foot beneath where you stood. A soft print remains. It does not flatten. It deepens. As if the moss is absorbing you. Not your body, but the shape of your being. And then, quietly, you hear a sound behind you. Another step. Soft, muffled, matching yours, but not quite. You glance back. Nothing stirs. The forest stands still, but the path behind you has changed. Where you stepped before, no impressions remain. The moss has erased them. Only the one you just left stays visible, a perfect mirror of your foot. And then it shifts, not back to flatness, but forward. A second print joins it, facing the first dot as though someone had walked up to where you stood and stopped. The prints are your size, but not quite your shape. Toes longer, arch higher, wrong in the way dreams are wrong. You turn back toward the path ahead. The moss glows brighter. You step forward again. And with each footfall, the forest responds. The moss beneath your foot warms slightly, pulses once. And when you lift your foot, a faint glimmer remains, then fades, but it is not gone. You can feel it behind you. Remembering, you keep walking. The path narrows briefly, hemmed by thick roots like ribs. Overhead, the canopy thickens. No light comes through. Only the glow beneath you remains. The prints continue. Yours and the others. Sometimes they appear beside yours. Sometimes ahead. Always. Just one step different. Dot at one point. You stop. Kneel. Reach down to touch the moss, where one of the stranger prints sits. Dot, it's cool, not wet, firm, but not resistant. When your fingers press into it, the moss yields, then exhales. A soft breath, warm and whispery, rises from the soil. You pull back, but something clings to your hand, a shimmer. Faint as morning mist. Dot, it fades in seconds. But its impression lingers. A memory. A flash of sky through broken trees. The scent of burning sage. A child's laugh. Yours. Echoing through a hallway. You didn't think you had forgotten those things. But the moss did not ask if you had. Dot, it simply returned them. You walk again. Slower now, not from fear, from reverence. Dot, each step is a communion, each pause an invitation. You round a curve in the path, and the moss thickens. Dotted piles here, not randomly, but arranged, mounded in small humps, spiraling outward from a center. A clearing. Dot, in its heart, a circle of bare earth. Perfectly smooth, ringed by right stones, each carved with a mark you've seen on the trees. Your steps fall silent as you approach. The moss around the circle is warm, thick as a blanket. When you kneel, it hums beneath you, a vibration you feel in your ribs. You place a hand on one of the white stones. It hums too, a low tone, like a bell rung underwater. Your breath slows. The air feels sacred, like a temple built by silence. Dot, and there, in the center, a single object. A feather, curled, charcoal black, tipped in gold. Dot, it rests on the bare earth, undisturbed, unclaimed. You reach toward it. But just before you touch it, the moss behind you shifts. A soft sound, not threatening. Dot, another step. Then stillness. You do not turn. You leave the feather. You rise. And as you leave the clearing, the moss swells gently beneath your heels, softening your steps and remembering them all the same ahead. The path bends. Dot, and in the distance, a tree split down. The middle begins to whisper. The forest thickens as you walk, but the silence does not deepen. It shifts. No longer empty. No longer waiting. It listens. And now, it begins to speak. The sound reaches you slowly. Not from ahead, but all around. At first, it mimics the wind, but the trees do not move. The leaves remain still, and yet something whispers, faint, drawn out, a murmur like breath over glass, or words mumbled through sleep. You follow it. Not hurried, not lost, only drawn. The path curves tightly. The trees bend inward, not blocking your way, but guiding. You brush past vines that retract like shy fingers, step over roots that seem to flatten beneath you. And still, the murmuring grows clearer, not louder, clearer. You begin to make out syllables, broken, stretched, show, and nothing whole, but heavy with familiarity, as though your ear remembers what your mind has not. Then you see it, the tree. Massive, split down the center, its two halves twisted outward like jaws preparing to speak. The hollow within is wide enough to step through, dark still, but not empty. The air around it hums. The murmuring originates here, from the space within. You stop. The bark is blackened, not burned. A natural darkness, like something pulled inward. Veins of silver streak through it, as though light had once tried to grow there, and failed. Markings cluster around the hollow. Symbols you've seen before, but more now. Deeper, fresher. They pulse gently. You approach the opening. Slow, your breath shallow, your body unsure. But the path behind you has closed, not with force, with quiet inevitability. You step into the hollow. The air changes, cooler, but not cold. Thick, as if woven from dust and memory. Inside. The space is impossibly vast, larger than the tree could ever hold. The inside walls curve upward endlessly. You can't see the top. The floor is soft, carpeted with moss and fallen lichen, which glows with a faint inner light. You are not alone. The whispers swell. They do not come from above, or below, or round. They come from within, your chest. Your hands. Your name. A full word now, clear and deliberate. Not the one you wear, but the one the forest gave you. You do not flinch. You recognize it. It fills the hollow. It reverberates in your bones, not spoken aloud, but remembered through you. You feel it twist gently around your ribs, settling there like something rediscovered, something earned. A second whisper rises. Another name, not yours, but one you once knew, long ago. A friend, a guardian, a shadow. The tree remembers them. The hollow is not just a place. It is a chamber of kept things, names, thoughts, moments too quiet to be lost. You kneel. The moss here smells like rain on stone. It is soft against your palms. You close your eyes, and you listen. The tree does not ask questions. It does not judge the shape of your memories. It simply gathers them, weaves them into its heart. And when you open your eyes again, you are alone. The whispers have faded. The hollow is quiet, but not silent. There is a feeling in your chest, like a small bell, still ringing, long after the sound is gone. You rise slowly. Step back out into the forest. The air feels different. Now, as though the trees recognize you, no longer a visitor. No longer a stranger. One of their own. The path stretches forward. A line of stones leads into a grove. And in the center of that grove, a ring of pale stones waits, warm and humming, like a memory you are about to make. The trees draw back as you approach, not bending, withdrawing. The path opens into a clearing, perfectly round, lit by no sun, yet filled with light. It seems to come from the ground itself. Or perhaps from the memory of light, held in the stones that ring the grove. There are 13 of them, tall enough to kneel before, pale gray, each carved with a different mark. They form a perfect circle, too perfect to be chance, within the ring. Bare earth, soft and untouched. At its center, a low stone basin filled with still water, not reflecting anything above. Only what lies beneath. You do not cross the ring, not yet. You walk its edge, studying the stones. Each bears a sigil, some familiar, some you saw in the hollow tree, some new. Each mark stirs something in your mind, like the echo of a forgotten lullaby. You reach out, your fingers brush the first stone, and it sings, not loudly, a hum, a perfect note, low and full. Not in your ears, in your bones. The second stone, a higher note, clearer. The third, softer still, almost not there. You move from one to the next, and with each touch, the grove fills with layers of sound. Like the forest itself is remembering a song you didn't know you knew. The air thickens with harmony. It does not swell. It deepens. The notes don't replace each other. They layer. They remain until the circle becomes a chorus. A low, continuous hymn. Your breath slows. You step into the center. The ground feels different here. Cool. Alive. You kneel at the basin. The water is impossibly still. Not a ripple. Not a speck of dust. Like glass. Like sleep. You peer in. It does not reflect your face. Only the canopy above. But not as it is now. As it once was. Sunlight filters through thick summer leaves. You see children run across the grove, laughing, wearing bells, trailing streamers of thread. You see someone standing at the edge, tall, cloaked in green, holding a staff that pulses like a heartbeat. The vision shifts. The grove empty again. Night now. Lanterns in each stone. Not real, but remembered. Firelight flickering in the marks. A ritual. A summoning. Or a farewell. You do not know. You only feel. The basin's water begins to ripple. Only slightly. Only at the edges. And in the center, a single stone rises. Small. Smooth. Ivory white. It floats on the water. You reach in, and as your fingers graze it, every stone around the circle sings. One bright, unified note. Not deafening, not startling. Beautiful. Final. Then silence. The stone rests in your palm. No mark. No heat. But you know what it means. You have been recognized. Not accepted. You already were, but chosen. The stone is yours to carry. And the song is yours too. Remember. The basin stills. The air clears. The vision fades, but the hush remains. You step back from the center. The circle releases you. The path resumes between two tall trees, their bark marked with mirrored symbols dot as you leave the grove. You hear it one last time, a single note, carried on the wind dot just for you. The path narrows after the grove, not from crowding trees, but from quiet dot it draws in close. Like a held breath dot no wind stirs the branches. No leaves fall, only stillness dot, and then the shimmer. Not light, not movement, something subtler, a feeling that you're about to be seen. The trees part without rustle, revealing a pond, so still it could be a window dot it stretches wide, but shallow, encircled by reeds that do not sway. Water unbroken by ripple or insect, perfectly smooth. You step to its edge, and there, your reflection, but it moves before you do dot not dramatically. Not grotesquely, dot just slightly. You blink. It does not. You tilt your head. It waits. Then follows, a beat too late, dot it smiles. You do not. Your heart does not race. You are not afraid. The reflection is not hostile. It is curious, dot it studies you as though it, too, just arrived. You kneel. Your face moves closer to the surface. Still, the reflection lingers half a breath behind. You raise your hand. It mirrors you, almost fingers longer, nails darker, a shimmer to the skin like frost dot, then it stills. And gestures, a single movement, palm turned down. An invitation or a warning, you do not mimic it. You reach out instead and touch the water dot it should break. It should ripple, but it doesn't. Your finger sinks in slowly, cool, not wet. The sensation is like silk or fog dot, and then you see dot not with your eyes. With your skin dot flashes dot, a lantern-lit path spiraling inward. A child's voice in song, your hands smaller, covered in dark soil. Placing a stone in the center of a ring, a name whispered behind. You, not in warning, but in welcome dot the water pulses around your finger. You withdraw dot, and as you do, your reflection returns, fully aligned, fully yours, but its eyes linger a moment longer, as though reluctant dot, as though grateful. You sit beside the pond, letting the stillness press around you. For a moment, you forget what direction you came from, forget why you arrived. Only the hush remains, the trees, the water, the silence that breathes. And then a rustle. Not behind you, dot above dot, you look up dot in the branches above the pond. A charm swings gently, a bundle of bone, twine, and feather, turning slowly, as though it has been watching you this whole time. The charm turns once, slowly, then again, not to the wind, there is none, but to you dot it hangs from a low branch, just above the pond, held by a thread dark as ink, too fine to be twine. It looks like hair, or sinew. You rise slowly, your eyes never leave it. The bundle itself is simple. A curved bone, maybe bird, maybe something older. Feathers tied at one end, withered but intact. A shard of glass glimmering faintly in the center, as though catching light that isn't there. Dot, you step closer. The charm stills, as if waiting dot it doesn't feel threatening. It feels attentive. Like it has seen many travelers and has decided to remain silent for most, but not for you. The moment you stand beneath it, you hear something. A tiny rattle, not of beads or stones. The sound is too soft, too rhythmic. It sounds like breathing. Not yours. You glance at the charm again. It tilts. Just slightly. In your direction. As if thinking. You reach up. Not to touch it, but to see if it responds. It sways backward, slow and deliberate. Not retreating, inviting. Your fingers stop short, and from the charm, a single feather detaches. It does not fall. It drifts. Like smoke caught in slow water. It curls down through the air and lands in your open hand without a sound. It is warm. Lighter than a breath. You close your fingers around it. Your eyelids flutter. Not sleep, not dream. A memory enters you, not yours. A woman standing beneath this same charm. Centuries ago, eyes closed, mouth open in silent song. She wears a cloak of ivy, carries a lantern of bone and root. She does not speak, but she nods to you. And then she's gone. The image fades. You open your hand. The feather is still there, but now it has changed. The gold at its tip has bled downward. The shaft now bears a faint symbol, one you've seen on the stones. A spiral curling inward, drawn in threads of light. You tuck the feather into your pocket, and the charm above you spins once more. Faster this time. You hear a whisper, clear as wind over old glass. Continue. The path awaits. You turn away from the pond, and as you do, the ground beneath your feet shifts. No longer moss, not stone. Wood. Boards weathered and half buried. An old walkway leading deeper into the trees. You take one step, and the boards groan softly. Not in protest, but recognition. Another step. The air changes again. Cool, still, expectant. Ahead, the path divides. Two trails, twisting in opposite directions. No signs, no marks. But in the space between them, a shape. Tall, still, familiar. It looks like you, facing away. You blink, and it's gone. The charm above the pond gives one last shiver, and then stills forever. The charm's whisper lingers behind you, a trace of sound in the hush, like a dream still clinging to the folds of your thoughts. You walk slower now, not from weariness, but because everything around you listens. The air has grown stiller again, dense as fabric, not oppressive, just weighty with intention. The trees seem to lean closer, their branches no longer bare, but adorned with small white blossoms, some whole, some wilted, some caught between. Petals drift without breeze, falling gently, landing soundlessly on your shoulders, your hair, the path ahead. You walk for some time. The world narrows and widens, breathing with your steps. Every so often, the feather in your pocket pulses, a subtle warmth, like the hush of firelight. The boards beneath your feet end with no ceremony, and the earth resumes, but different now, softer, powdery, almost like the dust of crushed bone and ash, though it smells of cedar. You look up and stop. The path forks to trails, mirror twins, each lined by the same trees, the same stone markers, the same soft hush of branches above. But one leans subtly left, the other slightly right. Both dissolve into shadow after 20 paces. No sound, No sign, but between them, a figure dotted stands still, head tilted just enough to seem listening. You recognize it instantly, dot it is you. Or something wearing your shape. Not a mirror, not a dream. A presence. Flesh or mist, you can't tell dot it does not move. But it waits. Not as a guardian. Not as a threat dot as a possibility. You do not step closer dot instead. You breathe long, slow. And it breathes too. You take one step toward the right path, and the figure shifts toward the left. You pause dot it pauses. Then it lifts a hand, not a warning, a farewell, or a greeting for the you who takes the other trail. You choose. The right path pulls you gently. The moment you step into it, the light changes. Not darker, more narrow, refined dot like walking inside. A thought. The trees here arch higher. Their bark peels in strips, revealing glowing veins of gold and green. You walk slowly, carefully, behind you. The fork disappears, as if the path has always been one line, but the feeling remains somewhere. Another you walks the other way, and perhaps they wonder the same dot the ground here is spongy with moss. Not bright like before, darker, like dusk. You begin to notice subtle signs of passage. A broken twig, still green at the bend. A smear of something faintly glowing across a stone. Footprints. Not yours, not boots. Bare dot delicate dot familiar dot. You kneel beside one dotted presses deeper than yours ever did. As if the walker was heavier, or the moss remembered them more. You keep walking. A sound begins. Low, steady. A heartbeat. No. A drum dot faint dot far dot it matches your steps. Slows when you slow. Halts when you stop. Then a voice, whispered, not. Calling. Repeating. You can't make out the words, but the cadence is soothing dot like someone murmuring a lullaby to an unseen child. The trees begin to thin. The sky above turns violet, a false dusk. Though time has not changed, and ahead, clearing dot you step through, and freeze. Across from you, on the opposite side of the ring, another figure steps out dot it is you. Again dot but different. They wear something at their throat, a charm you don't remember finding. Their eyes are lined with shadow. Their posture is familiar, but heavier. More tired dot they see you. They do not react dot they mirror you dot exactly dot you step forward. So do they dot you raise a hand. They match you. But now, their hand carries a scar your skin does not bear. You lower your arm. They do not. They simply fade dot not vanish dot fade dot like a memory gently retreating into sleep. You are alone again. But something has changed. You reach to your neck. Feel the leather. Cord. The charm now hangs there, the one they wore. A single stone, blackened, carved with your original name. You did not place it there. The forest did. The two paths have joined again. Not where they split. Further along, you turn to look back. Only one trail stretches behind you dot no sign of choice. No sign of division, only the soft moss, and the echo of a footstep that isn't yours dot from the trees ahead. A breeze carries a scent, salt, and wood, and metal. You follow it dot, and in the distance, a shape emerges. A door, standing alone. In the middle of the trees, dot no frame, no hinges, just a door slightly ajar, and breathing. The door does not belong. That is your first thought, Dot. It rises from the forest floor without roots, without structure. No arch, no threshold, Dot. It simply stands, freestanding among the trees. Like a secret that has waited too long to be told. Its surface is aged wood, silver gray and riddled with grains that seem to shift when you don't look directly. Symbols are carved into the panels, some you recognize from before. The spiral, the 3 lines and a dot. But now there are others, more delicate, and one of them pulses faintly in rhythm with your breath. You step closer. The forest around you fades in volume. Not vanishing, retreating. A hush builds. Not. Silence. The anticipation of choice. The door is slightly ajar. Just enough for shadow to spill from the gap. It does not creak. It does not move. But it inhales. A soft draw of air. Like someone waiting to speak. And holding back, you reach for it. The handle is round cold, but not lifeless. And as your fingers close around it, you feel something match you. A hand on the other side. Fingers mirroring yours. You don't pull. You simply listen. The door does to Dot, and in that pause, 100 echoes unfold. Not words, but fragments. Laughter under lanterns. The crackle of burning herbs. A voice, your voice, but younger, saying a name you've never spoken aloud. You let go of the handle, and the door opens on its own. The gap widens with no sound. No rush of air. Just presence. Beyond it, darkness Dot, but not empty. You step forward, and the world shifts Dot. No jolt, no shock. Just a seamless transition, like walking from one dream into another. Inside, the space curves like a tunnel, but feels like a room. The walls are made of wood and root and memory. The floor is a slow-moving fog, and in the center, a chair carved from the same wood as the door, its back twisted like a spiral. On it, a figure Dot you Dot as you are now, still, eyes closed, breathing slow. You do not gasp. You do not flee Dot. This has happened before. And it will happen again. The other you opens there. Eyes, they do not speak. They do not rise, but their gaze settles on yours with infinite gentleness. They gesture toward the chair beside them. You hadn't seen it, but it's their Dot identical Dot waiting. You sit. The fog parts beneath you, and the air thickens, filled with the scent of crushed pine and dried rose. The other you closes their eyes again, and as you do too, you see flashes behind your lids. The path, the lantern, the singing stones, the pond, the charm. The reflection, each image folds into the next, not as memories, but as pieces of a larger shape. A shape that is you, or has become you. You feel warmth at your chest. The stone charm glows faintly. And then the breathing stops. Not yours. The doors Dot it has closed again. Without sound, without notice. You rise. The other you is gone. So is the fog. So is the tunnel Dot you are outside. Dot the door stands behind you now. Closed. Still without hinges, still breathing. But now you hear another breath, not your own. deeper, familiar dot ahead, the final stretch of path. And on it something shaped like you, walking, but never turning back. The forest is quiet again, but not the silence of beginning. This is the silence of after, of something having ended or changed. You walk slowly. Not because you're tired, but because each step feels like a closing chapter. The path beneath. Your feet is familiar now, not from memory, but from the way it accepts you. Like a song reaching its final verse. The trees seem taller here. Their branches arch higher. Their trunks less gnarled, less ancient. You pass the place where the door once stood, but the space is empty. Only the faintest scent lingers, like wormwood and breath. Ahead, the canopy thins, soft light spills. Through, not bright, not blinding, just enough. You step into it and find yourself at the edge of the hollow's beginning. The place where Ivy once parted, but you are not ready to leave. Not yet, so you turn. And down the path behind you, you see it yourself, not a reflection, not a ghost, a version of you still walking. Further down, hands at your side, head tilted, listening to a sound only the hollow sings. They do not look up, but you feel it. Their awareness, not part of you, but rooted in you. A branch of your mind the forest has gently taken. You take one step back, and the other you pauses. For a moment, you think they'll turn, speak, smile, but they simply lift a hand, slow, soft, a farewell, or a promise, and then they dissolve, not vanish, unfold, like mist evaporating from morning grass. You're alone again, but changed. You glance at your hands, your chest, your feet. You're still you. But you feel less full, and somehow more whole. The hollow has taken something, but it has also given. You carry the warmth of the lanterns, the vibration of singing stones, the hush of the pond's reflection, the memory of the charm that tilted in thought. The forest will not chase you, it never did, it waits. You pass beneath the arching limbs that led you here hours or years ago. And the ivy, it parts. No hand raised, no command spoken, it simply knows, because it remembers. And you step through. The world beyond the hollow feels brighter, sharper, but thinner, somehow. You breathe. And your breath carries the scent of moss and whispering bark. And shadowed paths, you walk away slowly. But as you go, you do not leave everything behind. Something in your posture lingers. Something in your eyes glows faintly. Someone might look at you and say, "You've changed," and you might smile, or nod, or simply walk on. Because you know the truth. You never left, not entirely. Part of you remains, and one day, when the wind feels right, when the quiet sings beneath your ribs again, the path will open once more, and the hollow will remember your name. Now rest, dear wanderer. You've walked far, though your feet never left the ground. Through moss and whisper, through lantern glow and silence, you let the hollow show you its gentle dark. And it remembers you now. The path may seem to vanish. The stone's hidden once again, beneath thyme and ivy. But it isn't gone. Not really, it waits. Just behind the hum of leaves, just beneath the hush of sleep, doth feel the warmth still in your chest. That soft stone, that tender name, the forest has kept part of you not as a theft, but as a lullaby. Your breath is slower now, your limbs heavier, and in the deep dark behind your eyes, perhaps the hollow stirs once more, with lanterns blooming in the branches, and footfalls beside your own. Let go of the path now. Let it drift behind you like a fading dream. You are safe. The trees are quiet. The pond is still. Even your other self has curled to sleep among the roots. And if ever the world above becomes too loud, you need only whisper back, and the hollow will open. Again, it always does. The tale has ended. Now sleep, if you can. I'll be just beyond the veil, listening.